It's again a championship game rematch as the Sidwell Friends Quakers face off with the Eastern Ramblers in the DCSAA Class A Championship game. Hello, football fans.
This is Ted Hefter. In this game, I was the quarterback. I was a senior. I'm currently a senior at William and Mary, playing football there in my last year.
Hey, what's up? My name's Dylan Greynolds. I was a junior during this game. I was a wide receiver and defensive back. I graduated in 2017. Currently, I'm a senior at Carnegie Mellon University studying engineering.
Hey everyone, my name's Josh Portnoy. I was a senior this game. I played fullback and defensive line. After this is my senior year, I played football at Pomona College in California and graduated last year, so in the real world now.
I'm John Simon. I'm the former head football coach at Sidwell Friends, and in the game you're watching, I was in about my 17th, 18th year of coaching, and I'm still at the school as the head baseball and assistant athletic director.
Chichester again running to his right. Again breaks a few tackles, banged down across the 30, but he's close to another first down.
Coming into this game, we noticed we had a decent size advantage up front. They had great athletes on the back, so we knew coming out, running the ball, establishing that with Mark, the future MVP of the game, was extremely important. This first drive was a ton of that, making sure we got the ball into his hands and show that we could run the ball on them.
R.C. Walbrook into the game for Sidwell Friends, but it'll be Chichester on the jet sweep trying to get to the outside. Chichester going to be knocked out of bounds inside the 5. So now Chichester goes in motion, fake the handoff, get to Walbrook up the middle. Walbrook forward, Walbrook into the end zone. Touchdown Sidwell Friends. They draw first blood.
So that was a huge so coming into that drive after we had just scored, we drove pretty easily. We felt pretty good, but as you'll see during the next drive, we had played this quarterback, Jerome Johnson, before, and we knew that we couldn't get all of our hopes up as he was a threat the entire game. So while we were pretty encouraged by that, we knew we had to stop him too.
Going into the game, obviously, we knew Mark was going to be a huge factor. I think one of the things we did really well was during the game making in-game adjustments. As you'll see kind of throughout, at times they give us a lot of cushion, and Ted adjusts at the line, which is really well, and he was just kind of ready to do that after watching film going in.
Johnson back to throw, out in the flat, screen pass set up. Chance here, brought down, a 10-yard gain, maybe a little bit more. Curtis on the catch and run. Johnson looks to throw, scrambled, trying to keep him in the pocket.
And our game plan was trying to contain Johnson.
Throw it up. He's going to be not brought down. Now he is. He gets hit and thrown to the ground all the way back.
Going into this game as seniors especially, getting a second shot at Eastern in the last game that we would be playing, it definitely meant a lot. We knew that this would be a game that we'd remember for a while as the last time we put on our uniform. So, throughout the whole game, you felt that pressure.
It felt good going into the game, too, knowing a lot of the people on the team had been there the year before and knew what it felt like to lose that game.
I guess I would say that we wanted to come out on top after losing in the last few seconds of the last game.
Del takes the rolling snap and kicks it sideways. Or I guess you say side to side. Chichester just gets on top of it. Gets a little bit of contact, but goes down to the 20s and champion.
Yeah, so my biggest challenge in this game was definitely playing with a broken back, which my doctor would probably recommend that I not have done in hindsight. But I missed almost the entire season. I came back in the playoffs. I got cleared probably incorrectly by a doctor. But I was playing with a broken back here, so that was definitely a challenge for me, I think, although Advil helped a lot.
Yeah, getting a player with Josh's skill set back, especially at Sidwell Friends, where you don't get a whole lot of 240-pound athletes like Josh, or whatever he was at the time. Definitely trying to get the ball in his hands. People don't tackle people that large very well at our level. We saw it when he came back at Flint Hill in that MAC championship game. We lost a little bit. We got the ball to him a ton, but I know up front it gave their offensive line a lot of struggle to have him back in the game.
Oh, it was it was huge because he was such a big part of our team, especially on the defensive line, and it was a big boost for us to get him back.
It looked like Johnson over the middle. That one's knocked down. Great defensive play by linebacker Jamie Landy to get a hand on it. And the Ramblers, pistol formation. Johnson looking to throw, going to try and get out of it. Going to look to run. He's going to be close. He's going to be hit, but he gets into the end zone. Touchdown, Jerome Johnson.
Honestly, for going into this game is the second time we were playing the same team in the same championship game. In the moment, in reality, you don't really think about it a whole lot because you've played so many games between that one and this one. And we were really just going off the last game. We had just beaten Murray again. We had our game plan in place. It didn't really hit me until I went out for the game, and on the sidelines, we saw all of our former teammates reminded you that we were on this field 1 year ago. It gave you a little bit of perspective, but in reality, we had our game plan, and we had the goal to beat the team regardless of what happened last year.
Yards add up just like points add up, and that was a great play right there on first down.
It's almost
this game, there were a lot of the seniors that came back from years prior, like Oscar Buchever. I believe Diamante was there. Maybe Miles Brown was there too. And seeing those dudes there that also failed to actually win the championship was just an extra motivation trying to get us to the next step. I felt we were better than the years prior after everything we'd gone through, and it was nice just to have them there seeing what we could accomplish.
Snap last time out. High snap, that one corralled though. Greynolds with it on the quick slip screen, gets it inside for a gain of around 6. Fourth quarter, then actually beat them in comeback fashion as Chichester's brought down after a gain of 3. Sets up a second and third and 1, but beat Murray in the game, the semifinal game to get here. Walbrook with Hefter. 3 receivers the other way, 1 tight end. That's Sanchez to the right. Handoff. Walbrook's got first down yardage as he pushes ahead for about 4.
You like how they're playing with control here, especially up front. I think they're controlling the line of scrimmage, their offensive line.
Hefter, again, out in the flat, seemingly has that all day, ends up hitting Felipe Sanchez there for a nice 7-yard gain. As time goes along, and winning a championship like this might do the trick. Greynolds with the catch, got some space, still on his feet. Greynolds trying to cut back. He'll be slung down at the 10-yard line, but another Hefter, quick pass. Lunging forward and just short of the goal line is Felipe Sanchez, but he should. Handoff up the middle and stuffed. And I think John Simon and his crew going to go ahead and tell the Quakers to hold up. And that will bring us to the end of the first quarter. The Sidwell Friends leads Eastern 8-6, but they're advancing on the goal line, looking at a big third down. We'll see if they get in. We'll see where they go with this.
And I'll say from a football strategy standpoint, getting up on a team like this, knowing that our strength would probably be running the ball against this defense more so than passing. They had some really elite athletes on the back end. This was not one of our biggest passing games, so if we got down early, we know it might be a little bit of a harder battle. Whether versus when we got up early, we knew we could lean on the run a little bit more.
The back of the backfield. Greynolds goes in motion. Quick pass out in the flat. That one's going to be caught off the deflection. Dylan Greynolds for 2. Going to be a kind of a sky kick. Going to be taken by an up man. Almost called for a fair catch. Now handed off. Still on his feet. And brought down at the 40-yard line is John Johnson. DCSAA state championships at the Class A level. Jerome Johnson over the middle. That one was almost caught, then almost intercepted. Now Eastern.
Yeah, and as you'll watch on this play, I mean, at any time he could make you look very silly. Yes, so you can definitely be optimistic that our offense is doing the good job, but I think for most of the season our defense was kind of the big issue for us in terms of making sure that games didn't get away from us. So we were still definitely a little we were cautiously optimistic at this point.
He made us both look bad right there.
2nd and 7.
And we saw what he could do last year, that if he got out of the pocket, he could kill you.
Gonna have to keep running now. He's going to be dead to rights and brought down. And it's tough, and that's what they're looking at right now. Need to get it down around the 31. Johnson trying to get to the outside. Doesn't have a lot of space. He'll be pushed out of bounds. Does give a stiff arm for his troubles, though, to Ben Lee, but he'll be well short of the stick. The ball. So
Honestly, at this point, you kind of got to be thinking it's 0-0 because they could score the ball any given play, to be quite honest. So you don't really think about the score as much as just the next play. You just got to do better the next one.
Out in the flat, that's going to be completed. First down yardage to Trayvon Battle. And
we told our defensive ends to make sure that they didn't crash, that they boxed, and we had our middle linebacker spying the quarterback, who was Nathaniel. He spied the quarterback the whole game, did a pretty good job.
Johnson back to throw. Not a lot of pressure, setting up the screen. Tackled, but pass first down yardage is 1st and 10.
Yeah, this was a completely new defense for Sidwell Friends. We had, I think it was a 5-1 or a 6-1 defensive line. It was very new for us. It was a completely new game plan, but all just so that we could deal with the athlete at quarterback.
Yeah, it was a 6-1.
And he still ran for however many 100 yards.
Correct.
It goes Angelo Tyree. Sidwell showing blitz, maybe a game up front. Potts trying to come through. Johnson avoids the first wave. Harris is going to grab him and bring him down. Johnson back to throw over the middle. That one's going to be complete. Touchdown Eastern. Trayvon Battle with the catch.
Good
For Eastern. So Del Cid probably could put one through. This one going to be complete. And again, that's a sign they're pointing which way to kick it. Lyndon Harris, the big man's going to pick it up. Trying to get to the outside. Harris hit and brought down. Ball comes loose, but they say he's down.
From a game plan perspective, we were a big film watching offense. We made a lot of our game plans around what they had put on film for the weeks before. So the first few drives would definitely be a huge challenge if you see something that you weren't used to seeing. And that's kind of a testament of the best offenses, is who can adjust mid-game and figure out what to do. So I feel fortunate that they stayed in their cover 3 basically the whole game, gave us the flats, and didn't switch up totally like we did on them. Yeah, so Eastern this whole game, and that was a flood concept to Felipe Sanchez. Cover 3 is where they have one middle safety. You see him right in the middle of the field. 2 cornerbacks playing the deep thirds, and a bunch of underneath zone players. And basically what that means is you're going to have the outsides of the fields pretty open. A lot of high schools don't throw it out there, but we had the receivers to get the ball out there, so we were able to take advantage.
This one's going to be over the head of the intended target. 3 receivers.
I mean, I think one of the things me and Ted probably practiced just countless times just to come back. Every variation of it, I think we practiced. Our timing on that was pretty good. And the corners, we ran that almost every single game. Countless times, too. By far, corners and comebacks were our go-to routes, which I ran 2 times later in the fourth quarter that we'll see.
Bring him down short of the 1. Wanted to switch things out. Now it's just going to keep the play. Chichester trying to get to the outside. Will cut it back in. And he walks into the end zone. Chichester, a little cha-cha to get past the last defender. And Sidwell, another touchdown on the board.
Yeah, it's a big play in the game right here. I know it's early, but still a critical play.
And now a flag goes down. This is going to be a delay of game on Sidwell Friends. Back judge again checking his watch. Going to put the hand up. They'll get the play off. Hefter looking to throw. Flag down. Pass is caught in the end zone by Ben Lee. Let's see what the flag is. Legal shift. So that moves him back even farther. This extra point would basically be about a 30-yard field goal. So Hefter will try again with Walbrook next to him. Hefter going to get hit. Going to get set.
So coming off the injury, I used to play linebacker. I'd actually never really played defensive line until these games when I came back off of injury. So I was kind of just trying to figure it out and just do kind of everything I could to try to play football. You'll see on a lot of plays I used really awful technique and basically dropped like a linebacker as an interior defensive lineman, which most coaches would not recommend. So honestly, it was just trying to do everything we could to, trying to just contain him and just doing everything we could to not let him break the pocket and scramble.
So now Jason Strickland has to think about what he does here. Handoff up the middle, Kadeem Preston, and maybe Strickland.
Obviously, the great mentality is bend but don't break. Hopefully, we can get a stop. I think at this point, honestly, knowing what he had done to us last year and what was going on so far, there's a little bit of me thinking, all right, they're probably going to score quick, but we'll have plenty of time to get down the field and take a lead before we go to half again.
All the way down inside the 5-yard line. Right. Johnson has a pistol formation. Preston behind him. Preston gets the carry. Preston hit at the goal line, lunges in.
That was the second time they ran that back. They mostly didn't run him. I would say as the game went on, we took the freshmen off the kickoff team and put in the veterans to help us on the kickoffs and the returns.
Yeah, and I would say on the kickoffs, it wasn't really an injury issue. It was more of a us being tired issue. Maybe we needed a couple more Simon ladders.
For those that don't know, Simon ladders, you had to run the length of the field from sideline to sideline.
Missed his man looking for Greynolds.
Still tied.
Hefter. Incomplete as he threw it a smidge behind Lee. Still a catchable ball. I think he was looking up the field. Walbrook back in the backfield along with Hefter in the shotgun. Hefter back to throw. Flushed. Going to be hit. Now it's going to be Ted Hefter, the quarterback, punting here. Hefter. End over end kick. Taken at the 40-yard line. Staying on his feet. And then losing yardage is Thomas Drew. And we'll go ahead and start it up. 4 wides and a tight end. Johnson. Going to try for tight end Johnson. Can't get it to him. Incomplete at 52.
And something I know that the announcers touched on during the live filming of the game, they talked about how many more people that Eastern had on their sideline than we had on our sideline. And that was a big part of the game, was that all of our players were playing both ways besides myself, because I'm a privileged quarterback, and everyone else was so tired, and they had way more guys to go both ways. So conditioning played a massive role.
Yeah, not only did they have more players on their sideline, I think they might have had more people in their band on our sideline than we had on our sideline to play.
They did. Their band had more people in it than we had on our team.
Great job once again by Harris. He's playing well above the situation. Excellent job beating the block and getting to the quarterback once again. A very tough guy to bring down, and he's done it twice in consecutive plays.
A lot better snap this time. Del Cid, one-step kick and a nice high.
I don't think we caught a single punt return all year.
Drops it, but gets back on top of it.
Oh, this is at the point, Ted, where you're getting checked.
Yeah, I had to answer what day of the week it was and who was our president. The hard pressing questions.
After that big hit, if you look on the sideline, you can see Shannon talking to Ted. So he had to go to the Wildcat and put Mark in, and kept their fingers crossed that Ted was going to be all right.
Fumbled handoff as Walbrook just falls on top of it, and Sidwell Friends more than content to let this one run out. And we're all tied at 22 here between Eastern and Sidwell Friends.
So, Coach, we're at halftime here at 22 all. What's your halftime speech like right now?
It was basically, they're a good team, but we're matching them, and we just got to play solid defense and don't get beat deep, is what I kept telling them. And keep him inside. Don't let him get outside. Make him run up the middle. And I told him it was nothing to nothing. It was a brand new game, so we had to start over and keep fighting and fighting.
So coming off the injury this season and coming out of the half of a pretty tough first half, I distinctly remember I may have had a couple more Advils at halftime than maybe could be recommended on the label. I was definitely in a bit of pain, and I haven't even told my parents this, but I was supposed to be wearing a back brace, and I took it off at halftime as well because it was a little restrictive. So definitely was feeling it didn't get any better after half.
His second pass broken up today. Sidwell going with a 5-man alignment up front. Now flag goes down and going to be a false start. Johnson back to throw over the middle. This one's going to be complete. Then running backwards. I think they're going to give it forward progress, and they will. Johnson going to send a man in motion. That's Battle. Johnson, a little bit of pressure over the middle to Battle. No flag goes down, so it looks like Sidwell Friends is going to hold.
Yeah, excellent play right there by Nathaniel Pasta, freshman linebacker, coming across and making a play on the football, making it a tough catch for the receiver. Ended up forcing the fourth down.
Del Cid to kick, really low kick. Might have even got someone got a hand on it. It's going to roll and get a great Eastern bounce considering where it first hit the ground. Inside the 30-yard line, touchdown around the 20.
I mean, at this point of the game, we had mainly still just been staying to the flats and outs and giving the ball to Mark. I think they come into the second half probably even more willing to stack the box, put more people between the tackles trying to stop Mark. But from like a receiver standpoint, we weren't really doing much. Their DBs were incredible. They could play both the deep third and were fast enough to come back downhill and cover the flat at times.
For a first down. Walbrook spun forward and ends up about 2 yards short of the sticks. So kind of that power pivot.
I'm feeling really excited to put together one last half of football for Sidwell. We had 5 guys up front. I remember telling, from left to right, we had 5 linemen who we really trusted as a team, and we knew we were going to be able to lean on them. They were bigger, stronger, more athletic, meaner up front, and we were able to kind of redefine a little bit Sidwell football here, pounding the ball down their throats, coming out in the third quarter.
Hefter. His first pass of the second half, a bit wobbly, and it's going to be incomplete. So handoff. Chichester bounces it out to the outside, tries to stick the ball out to get the first down. They'll say he comes up about 3 yards short, but Emory, 3rd and 3. Chichester picks his way through. He's going to have first down yardage as he lunges ahead to the 41. Hefter.
I think personally my favorite play is I hurdled a dude. I thought that was pretty cool.
I think one of the biggest plays of the game was when we had 4th and long. I believe it was in the fourth quarter, and Dylan made a great catch out in the flat from Ted. That stands out in my mind to this day as one of the best plays of the game that I'll never forget.
One of the biggest plays that I remember from my career at Sidwell happened in this game as well. It happens a little bit later where, we had never run a play before. It was just a play action seam ball up the middle to Dylan in the red zone, and it was something we had never practiced before, but we saw the look and talked about it on the sideline, and I think that's a really good reflection of Coach Simon and his coaching staff, letting us discuss things we see on the field and execute them, as well as trusting that Dylan would be in a place even if I had never seen him do it before because of a lot of the work that we put in together in off seasons and during practices.
And what you're seeing now is they're allowing Hefter to get that football out of his hands quickly, short, not deep.
I tell you, we made the Peyton Manning comparison earlier. It's getting even more like Peyton Manning now. It's get it out of your hands fast, son. And time it worked as Sanchez split the defense, who was open for the big gain. So again, Hefter taking his time. Chichester the back of the backfield with him. Receivers each way. Sanchez's tight end goes in motion over to the wing.
Yeah, I mean, looking back on Walter, I think the one thing I remember most about him as a freshman here was how nice and sweet he was. And, he was almost too nice. And then what he developed into in terms of just being a nasty run blocker and pass blocker, it's pretty incredible. He's still the nicest and sweetest kid, but now he's got that edge to him that comes from being a huge, nasty offensive lineman. So it's pretty crazy to see how great he's doing now.
And I'll add about Walter Rouse that something that made him unique as a freshman in this game was that he embraced the role pretty quickly. He wasn't shy about it. He was confident coming in, and he cared and liked football a lot more than a lot of other people. You knew he had a mindset that would be successful regardless of what he tried to do. He was extremely positive all the time. He worked really hard. So, I never got to really see him develop into the person he became and going to Stanford, but you could see things off the bat where you knew he was going to be a successful guy regardless of what he did.
In reference to Walter there, he started as a guard in this game, and I knew he was going to be good, but I didn't know how good. But he played guard in this game because it was a better position for him than tackle. But he actually did pretty good as a freshman. Wouldn't you guys say that?
Ideally, what you want to see is everyone go and focus on those receivers out there, because that gives you the edge, the numbers wise, coming back to the outside.
Well, I'm wondering if at some point they go halfback pass out of that formation. This time they're just going to hand it off to Chichester. Cuts it up. He'll be very close to the first down sticks. That last move may have gotten it for him.
And that's a good point, because we saw that in the first game where they ran a play, an influence play, they came back with a pass. But
if I was giving advice or just speaking about my time to Sidwell and watching this game unfold, it would be everything that you see on this tape and that you saw on the field was made when absolutely no one was watching and nobody knew that we were doing anything in the summers, in the 6 a.m. lifts, spending a lot of time going to Chipotle, hanging out, building a team bond, making sure that we were all together and on the same page always. That's how the product became what it was. And, Sidwell football, any high school football, and honestly life in general is kind of just what you make it. And, putting as much effort into it as you can make any team, regardless of talent level, really successful.
False start on Sidwell Friends.
You don't like penalties regardless, but you definitely don't like penalties inside the 10-yard line.
Let's see how they attack this one. They'll send both receivers to the right. Now they'll flip the entire formation. Wing and tight end go from left to right. Receivers right to left. Hefter, handoff. Chichester gets a seam.
That spin by Mark was crazy right there.
They retake the lead.
Yeah, Chichester set him up pretty nicely for that spin. That was like a swinging gate to the right side. Power formation. Got everyone hook block on that outside. Cleared the lane for Chichester, who skirted right through and made that guy miss in space. That's the plays in space we were talking about pregame. You have to be able to do that if you want to have success. Made that guy miss with a nice spin move.
Absolutely. I would say Philippe Sanchez and Ben Lee were probably the two people that were really unheralded on our offense. Like, not a lot of people knew them. Their stats weren't necessarily the same as like Dylan and Mark, but both of them were extremely hard workers and became huge parts of our team and our offense, and we wouldn't have been the team we were if it weren't for Philippe or Ben.
Yeah, I attribute a lot of my numbers to Ben, too. He worked just as hard as I did. He was just as open as I was, too. He's a great player. Hardest worker there was.
And he's one of the few tennis players that played football, which is kind of interesting. He was a great tennis player, and he came out for football.
The flag comes down. Kind of an unnecessary play. It looked like it's against Eastern as they tackled at the 15, and this may move them way back towards their own goal line.
Got to be smart, man. That situation. Don't want to cost your football team. You're already backed up football team. You're down, and you get a penalty. It's not how you want to start this drive.
Block in the back. So that's going to move Eastern back. The one good, I guess it's a penalty that it's not going to put them back behind the sticks, but it's going to put them back inside their own 10-yard line.
Exactly. 90-plus drives just don't happen. They don't fall off trees. So you're going to have to work to get this one if you're the Friends Ramblers.
So we talk about stops, Emery, all game long. Who can get the most, and be huge here if Sidwell Friends can figure out a way to stop Eastern.
Big-time drive right here for Friends if they can get points on the board.
Interesting new formation. Handoff. There's two backs in the backfield. It'll be a nice gain. I believe that was Preston on the carry.
And that's what we talked about Sidwell doing, running the football, leaning on that defensive line, it's even more important for Friends to do so for the Ramblers to do so, because what you want them to do is tire out that football team that doesn't have a lot of depth.
Oh yeah, absolutely. My favorite play that we ran on offense. Let me see if I can get the name. It's Queen left purple 70. That sound right, Ted? There we go. that was our bootleg, and that was generally how I got all the touches. So definitely a fan of that one. But maybe some of the cross block plays. Those were also fun as a fullback. But yeah, the Queen left purple 70 is probably the one.
Oh man, it's impossible for me to pick a favorite play because the whole offense was more or less just a library of beautiful plays that we all knew like the back of our hands. But no, I mean this year we were chucking corner routes for touchdowns. We, for everyone like listening, I'm sure everyone talks about a go ball and the 9 route or whatever where you have a guy on the outside just run straight and you chuck it as far as you can. But it helps a guy out with not the biggest arm strength in the world like myself, where you put the guy inside and you tell him to run to the corner, and it makes it a little easier to throw the deep ball for me. And we worked it so much; it was a huge route for us. We called it China, and it was really successful.
Yeah, going off that, China was obvious. That was running corners was by far the most fun thing. I think me and Mark's catch to touchdown rate was unbelievable with that play.
Mm-hmm. The double decker variant of it too was really a strong play.
I think when we came back to beat Murray to get to this game, it was the China that put us up in that game, if you remember. The China play.
Threw it in between both of them. Bill Seed. It's a snap. Not a lot of pressure. This is end over end kick, and this is going to bounce at about the 35-yard line. Ted Hefter brings them out. Sat out a series at the end of the second quarter. Thought he might miss the rest of the game and came back in to start the second half. Has not thrown the ball as much as he did, though, in the first half. Chichester got some space. Chichester out in room, pulled down from behind at the 40-yard line, just across at the 30.
What is that Murray-Sidwell football rivalry like when you guys are strapping it up?
It was real. Murray was a big game every week because by the time we were getting good, they were unbelievable. We had the miraculous comeback game when I think we were down 30-6 in the fourth quarter, and we won. We beat them multiple times in the playoffs. It was a big week.
And what made it even better is the game we came back on when we were down 30-6 was their homecoming, if you guys remember.
Yeah, I'd say the Murray games were also pretty special because it just happened that I think in my career I ended up playing a Sidwell football Murray game 6 times in like 3 years because we kept playing them in a playoff somehow. So by the end of it, they knew our plays, they knew our calls, and we knew theirs. So it was more or less just a battle of grit and heart and all that stuff. So it was a lot of hate out there too, and the trash talk leading up to the game on Facebook was also hilarious.
And occasionally after the game was a little contentious.
I think, Dylan, in your career, you never lost to Murray, did you?
Might have lost freshman year. No, I don't think I ever lost. No, I don't count senior year because I didn't play. But
that would have been it. I don't think you did.
No, we don't lose to Murray.
Right, but the 3 years you played, you never lost to him.
Hefter, again, a low kick, and again, this one's going to bounce, and actually it's going to make it into the end zone against linebacker Jamie Landy. Johnson, he's going to take off now, got a lot of space to run. He's going to get a lot in one sitting here. He may go to the house. One man to beat. Can Chichester get him? Can he knock him out? He does, but he's all the way down to the 10-yard line. So actually they'll mark him out at the 13-yard line here. So Johnson to throw. This one is going to be complete, and it's going to be a touchdown. So Johnson, 5 wide receivers, always a run threat. Over the middle, this one's going to be caught. They say he's in. Good kick by Dill Sid. Going to be taken by Walbrook at his 15-yard line. Looking for some space. Walbrook up the middle. Going to be hit high, low, brought down around the 30-yard line. He'll flip.
It was crazy here, Coach. It was 36-30 with 8 minutes left.
Chichester kind of picking his way around the end. He'll be hit and brought down. If it's anything close, I think the Quakers are going to go.
On this team, they went on to play college ball. We had Ted. We had, Ted, Linden. Of course, Walter. Ted, Linden, Walter. And Dylan had a bunch of looks. If he hadn't got hurt his senior year, there's no doubt in my mind he wouldn't have been playing college ball.
I think we also had Nate Potts and Eric Peterson as well.
And Josh.
Oh, yeah, Potts. I think Potts played too. Correct. And Josh.
First down yardage and more brought down around the 20-yard line.
They have the match.
Oh, man. This is exactly what we're scared about. Is he just runs 90 yards for a touchdown.
Cuts it back away. Is he going to get in the end zone? Jerome Johnson, the magic man, in for the score. The glare, folks.
That was a demoralizing set of plays.
This one is going to be caught in the end zone.
We're about to learn a lot.
Yeah, we definitely came out pretty conservative here on this drive, and we really shouldn't have, just because the Eastern showed that they could put up points all the time. We got pretty fortunate that we kept getting extra chances because we didn't really deserve them here. But I know we went for a few fourth downs and struggled early, and then we ended up executing a little later.
For Sidwell Friends,
Yeah, and as the fullback in this game, I was very nervous on the sidelines here as I was taken out to put the guys with better hands and much better speed in. So it was definitely on the sideline. This was very, very nerve-wracking, just kind of almost praying. I think that we all had our arms crossed together, if I'm looking correctly at the sideline. It was a very, very intense time. Yeah, I think that to kind of give you a window into how we were all thinking, I think that most people thought that they were going to win the game at this point. At least in my head, I was pretty certain that they were going to be able to go down the field, especially after the first play here, and just score. I know that a lot of the parents in the stands said the same thing, that there was kind of no doubt that they were just going to go down and win the game, and it was going to be really disappointing. So, this was a tough drive here.
On the situation, but you still have to keep your.
It's definitely the longest with how long the refs took deciding on their flag. That was crazy. At this point in the game, we were all pretty tired. Honestly, we were. This is a tough play, and that's why we were tired. He made us look silly most of the game, and at this point, if I remember correctly, we were pretty gassed. Which definitely isn't great when you're trying to remember, because especially when you're gassed, you kind of forget about contain, or you forget about kind of listening to your assignments, and sometimes you just try to do your own thing, which is never the right thing to do. So the defense was kind of in shambles at this point.
A little bit deeper now.
If I went back and could talk to myself at any point in this game, truly. Especially as you started to get into the fourth quarter and they started to come back. It's that, letting emotions get control of you or getting flustered whatsoever will do nothing but make you erratic and not play as well, mess with your play and your play calling. And that's what's somewhat happened for the fourth quarter until we and myself calmed down a little bit for that last drive, knowing that it was do or die in that situation. But, that's something you learn over time.
Yeah, if I could go back, that play specifically when Ted aired it out on fourth down, after we didn't complete that, I was pretty down. I wasn't feeling too good about us. So I could just go back, tell myself there's plenty of time left. Just do what you have to do.
Yeah, and as the fullback in this game, I was very nervous on the sidelines here as I was taken out to put the guys with better hands and much better speed in. So it was definitely on the sideline. This was very, very nerve-wracking, just kind of almost praying. I think that we all had our arms crossed together, if I'm looking correctly at the sideline. It was a very, very intense time.
Yeah, I mean, we completed just some crucial downs here, which, again, we came down to the play that me and Ted have just done a million times, the bread and butter of a comeback, which I know Ted's about to get mad at me for because I ran it short. It's supposed to be 15 yards and you come back to 10, but I ran it about 12 yards and came back to 8. So it was tough.
That play right there is the one that stick in my mind forever. I have a picture of it in my office. That was huge right there because it was 4th down. That was unbelievable.
Going into this drive, we kept coming back to the plays that we knew extremely well, and 2 4th down conversions. It was very, very high stress, high pressure situations, and then our offensive coordinator at the time, Coach Remo, pulled me aside and said, "We got to run a screen. You keep dropping back, and we drop it off to RC, and he makes the play." As a player on the sideline watching this game, I don't think I've ever been more nervous or anxious watching another team drive down the field than watching this offense go down with the 50 seconds left.
Yeah, I think that to kind of give you a window into how we were all thinking, I think that most people thought that they were going to win the game at this point. At least in my head, I was pretty certain that they were going to be able to go down the field, especially after the first play here, and just score. I know that a lot of the parents in the stands said the same thing, that there was kind of no doubt that they were just going to go down and win the game, and it was going to be really disappointing. So, yeah, this was a tough drive here.
Josh, you got to tell the Miles Brown advice story here.
Yeah, so Miles Brown on the sideline before this drive was giving me defensive line tips as I'd never played before. And he was telling me about getting my hands on the shoulders of the offensive lineman, and I'd never kind of done that. I'd never heard that. And up until, I guess, this play right here, I'd not done that the entire game. And then I finally did that and tackled the guy. I had no clue he fumbled, and it was incredible. I thought the game was still going on. I was a little confused. And then Ted tracked me down in the middle of the field.
He fumbles, ball's on the ground, game is over. Sidwell Friends makes the defensive play, and they are your champions with a huge defensive stop to win the game.
The one time they stopped Johnson was for the game and for the state title. Excellent play by Sidwell Friends. This was an exciting game, and you love the fact that they're out there celebrating great defensive effort in the most crucial spot, getting him down on the ground, forcing a turnover.
I think that might have been Portnoy coming through, but a few guys got there. And boy,
I mean, you can see how happy we were. It was a lot coming back from last year's defeat to come back and play such a close game and actually close it out this time as time literally expired.
I mean, I would just say that this was pretty much the storybook ending to a storybook season. This was the perfect way to finish out Ted. I'm sure Ted would say the same thing. This was the perfect way to end up a great career. This was that I couldn't have asked for anything more. So this was an incredible way to end my time and my career at Sidwell.
This was one of the 2 most dramatic games I've ever seen, and the other one being the Murray game that year. It felt like we were like a part of some drama storybook something, because it felt like we had these 2 games that you just never thought would ever have existed in football.
Score, take the lead, and then Sidwell gets a couple breaks. Eastern does not quit. They come right back and almost pull this thing out of the fire, but a defensive play by Sidwell Friends.
Thanks, Coach.
Sidwell Friends is your football Class A state champions in the District of Columbia. They beat Eastern 44-38. Good night, everybody.